Hi, everybody. Roland is my name. I'm super excited about this discussion tonight because we will be looking at how a Christian business can thrive in a global environment, in particular, a nation that does not share Christian values. There are a couple of key questions that we are going to answer throughout this discussion that will help as a framework to ensure that we succeed in this nation. Is everybody excited about that? So there are a couple of questions we have to ask. The number one is, what Christian business model thrives in an environment that does not share Christian values? What business model are we going to use to ensure that we succeed? And another key question we are going to answer is, how do we overcome anti-Christian sentiment in a nation that does not share Christian values? We are going to be answering these questions because if we do have an understanding of what we are dealing with, the problems that we are going to encounter, and how we are going to overcome those problems, then we are halfway there. Because most companies, in particular Christian businesses, fail in other countries because, number one, we fail to do our research, and number two, we fail to plan strategically for success. So our company is Fast Food LLC. Does anyone know about Fast Food LLC? Yeah, sure, everybody does know about Fast Food LLC. We believe that life feels much better with good food. And so the reason why we believe that our business will be successful in a country that does not share our values is because we know everybody loves good food. Everybody eats. And so we believe that with our unique business model, which is we don't just prioritize quality food, but we actually embed in our recipe the taste of the community, the local community where we expand to the community where we serve. We take into consideration their taste and their style, and we embed that into our recipe, which makes our business model very unique. So our business was actually created to reflect Christian values. And not only was our business created to reflect Christian values, but it was created with the goal to expand to other nations that don't share our beliefs. And so we prioritize quality. We also prioritize low prices. Yes, fast and exceptional customer service. So that is what makes us unique. That is what makes us feel like we can thrive even in a global environment. So the nation that we picked for this project is Pakistan. Pakistan is an amazing country, beautiful people, amazing people. So we did a research about Pakistan, and we realized that the nation has a population of 229 million people, approximately as of 2022. We also realized that the country occupies a total land size of about 340,509 square miles. And the GDP per capita is $1,250 of 2022. And so the size of the middle class is 38%, and the access to electricity is 75.38%, and the access to internet is approximately 54%. That is 118 million citizens have access to internet. This is very important because we will actually be advertising online. We'll be advertising using these tools, electricity. And so it is very, very important that we did this research to know what we will be dealing with. So there is a huge market to explore in the nation of Pakistan. We also did a Honstev value comparison system between US, where we currently operate, and Pakistan, the nation where we intend to expand to. So you can see from the Honstev value comparison system analysis, you will see the power distance, you see the individualism, the masculinity, you will see the uncertainty, avoidance, you will see the long-term orientation, and also indulgence. This is very, very important because we actually look at the different variations that has to do maybe with power and all of those things, and they play a key role in our expansion. So we also did a pistol analysis. We looked at the political factors impacting the nation of Pakistan, the economic factors impacting the nation of Pakistan, the social factors affecting Pakistan, the technological factors affecting Pakistan, and the legal factors affecting Pakistan, as well as the environmental factors affecting Pakistan. And we see that the country politically is somehow stable. It's a beautiful nation, it's a growing nation, actually have a very huge population like we've looked at. One of the things we see about Pakistan when it comes to the political system is the president is ceremonial. The country is predominantly ruled by the prime minister. And we also researched that the military has a huge influence on the government. It is very, very important to observe that. And while we were also looking at the economic factors affecting the expansion into Pakistan, we realized that there are some amazing nations like UK, USA, we look China. All these amazing nations are already investing in Pakistan, which tells us there is a potential for growth. There are other nations that are doing well in Pakistan, which also tells us that Fast Food LLC will do well in Pakistan. So we looked at other social factors that are affecting the growth of Pakistan, and we realized that socially and technologically, we realized that the nation is very active on social media. So they are very active on social media. So they use technology a lot, and also some of the legal factors. So there is a very powerful legislation in Pakistan that actually helps to make sure that people are treated fairly. So the government is very, very serious about discrimination. Yes, so we know that there are some other environmental factors that might be affecting the legal issues, but we know that the government is for justice. The government stands with the people, and the government makes sure that everybody is treated fairly. And I think that is very, very, very important. So the question to answer is, why our company? Why are we a good fit for this project? And we realize that we have been called by God to spread the word, to spread our skills, our services, the talents that God has given us, as the Bible lets us understand, to other nations. These gifts were not given for us to utilize just within the Christian sector, but to expand in other nations. And we felt that this call is upon us to expand. And besides that, our business model that we have chosen is also very instrumental in our expansion. So we are going to expand into Pakistan using a franchise system. We are going to market our franchise system, and we will use this system to ensure our growth in that nation. We also look at it from the standpoint of creating jobs. We are going to create enormous amount of jobs for the inhabitants of this community. Because why? There is a huge low labor market. That is, there's a huge labor market that is very, very cheap, and we will take advantage of that and also help enrich the citizens of this nation. So our goal is also to prosper the nation through our business model, and in that sense also spreading the word. So the system or the model that we choose to use for expansion is the transnationalism or transnational business model. So we were looking at how this model is going to be successful for us. And based on our research, we realized that many global companies or companies that operate in foreign markets have succeeded extremely with this business system. So we looked at how the economists define transnationalism. They say transnationalism is the movement of people, cultures, and capital across nations, national borders. Economic Transnationalism is the flow of money, human capital, goods, and technology across borders. So we will see that companies like Walmart, companies like Amazon, companies like Apple, Shell, McDonald's have been extremely successful using this system for their global expansion. So we choose transnational business model as our business for this project. The reason is we realize that this business model has a high local responsiveness. That is, the locals respond positively because this business model seeks to actually absorb the local community and add the flair, the style of the local community into that business model. That is, we don't isolate the communities where we function in. We take into consideration their taste, their culture, their food, their lifestyle into this business model. And one of the important aspects of this particular business model is the high global integration. So because if there is high responsiveness within the local community, guess what? The business can actually integrate globally, which is very, very amazing. A case in point, we look at a company like McDonald's. McDonald's was extremely, or has been extremely successful in over like 100 countries, 36,000 locations, because they were able to blend their business model with the culture, the lifestyle of the people and the communities where they operate. And if we look at this, we will understand that this is the best business model that can help us to succeed in a global environment. McDonald's actually sold wine, or maybe still sells wine in Paris. You will look at McDonald's incorporating rice in the Philippines. That is, they include rice in their business model or in their franchise system. They accept the selling of rice. They accept the selling of wine in Paris because they understand that culture. They understand that environment. They did their research. And I think that is a great business model that we would take advantage of. So let's look a little bit at the cultural background of Pakistan. And especially, why is Pakistan hostile towards Christians? So you look at that picture, Christians are holding these placards and banners across the street. Why? Because they are being discriminated against because of what they believe. So it is a fact. A country of over 229 million people, and only 5% of this population are Christian. That is, 95% of this nation are Muslims. That is, they believe in Islam. They believe in Muhammad. They don't believe in Jesus like Christians. And so Christians are discriminated against. They are poorly treated. And so it is an issue that we took into consideration while we were doing our research and planning to expand into Pakistan. So we also realized that many businesses have failed in Pakistan. I don't just want to say everything is just going to be sugar and water, everything is going to be cool, everything is going to be bread and butter. No, there are some challenges. Many Christians, based on our research, have struggled and found it very hard succeeding in business in Pakistan. So they end up doing menial jobs like cleaning, labor-intensive jobs, because it is hard for them to thrive as business owners. So some stories that we came across while we were researching is a young man with an ambition to create a lucrative fast food business. So he started a restaurant. When borrowed money, started this restaurant, and people came in and loved the food. They actually did enjoy the food. And the very first day, he had about 100 people show up. It was an amazing business. A couple of weeks went by, and people realized that this individual was a Christian. And so everybody cut off from his business. It was a very tough time for this new business owner. One morning, this young man showed up, opened up his business, and a young boy came, bought bread, and was walking away. And a woman across the street stopped this young boy and asked the young boy, "Where are you from?" And the young boy said, "I went to this shop to buy bread." And then the woman asked the young man, why do you buy bread in a Christian shop? Don't you know those people are Christians? And so this young man who just started his business heard this conversation and was very terrified. But one thing happened. He realized the source of the problem. Why people were not showing up anymore. Why? Because he was a Christian. They don't want to buy from a Christian. And so problems like this, or maybe stories like this, have helped us to understand that we need to plan properly as we expand into Pakistan. Another interesting story I would like to share with us is a story of a real estate investor. So this guy showed up, realized what was happening. The good news is he did his research, which is what we are doing. And he did his research and realized some of the problems that exist within the Pakistani community. And what he did was he didn't actually use his Christian name in his business. He used his grandfather's last name. And the grandfather's last name is a typical Pakistani name that is recognized within the larger community. And so he was able to close deals, succeed and thrive in his real estate dealings that he did with predominantly Muslims. And the reason why he succeeded is because he did not use his Christian identity in business. So this was something that we took into consideration, or that we will take into consideration as we embark on our business venture. So as we look at everything, the question we are going to ask is, how does Fast Food LLC plans to overcome the anti-Christian sentiment in Pakistan? There are key things or key aspects of our business that we take into consideration as we expand, especially in Pakistan. And one of the things we took into consideration was strategic planning. We said we are going to plan strategically because we realize that many companies, many businesses fail abroad or fail in foreign countries because they fail to do their research and they fail to plan. So we are going to plan extremely hard, and which is what we are doing. So we also are going to take into consideration our HR system, how we hire. We are going to make sure that we do not discriminate. We are going to make sure that we actually incorporate everybody. We are going to make sure that in our hiring process, people are being briefed as to what we are all about. And so the Bible reminds us, like Jesus was telling his disciples, I'm sending you out like, he said, I'm sending you out. I'm sending you out to do evangelism. I'm sending you out to spread the word. And he said, be as innocent as a dove and be shrewd like a snake. So what he is actually saying is, I'm sending you out there, use wisdom. Don't just go out there, but be smart as to how you carry out your business practices. So our HR system is going to be designed in such a way that is going to address these problems, that is going to start pouring a light as to some of the challenges that we know that we will experience in Pakistan as Christian. Also, our training program. We have designed an amazing training program, and this program is going to be in two parts. The first is for our employees, and the second is for the public. We plan to design an education system to educate the public as to why we exist in Pakistan. And some of the things that we are going to highlight is the economic prosperity. We'll talk about development. We'll talk about making the community a better place. We'll talk about prosperity. We'll talk about the growth we'll talk about education. We'll talk about a lot of the things that are globally accepted in order to make a nation prosper and move forward. So we are going to focus on these key areas. And then we are going to, right in the middle of that, our employees will know the goals, the objective, what we stand for as Christians. So through that training and through that system, we are going to be able to gradually let the community know who we are and what we stand for. So it's going to be actual strategy. We can't just put out all the details, but it is going to be strategic as to how we bring out our Christian value. We will not just show up and say, we are Christians, yeah, we are, we want to do business, and boom, we know that is a failure, right? We've through those stories, we've seen that it didn't turn out well for this young man, and we saw that the real estate guy that did his research and came up a little bit strategic was able to excel. And so we take those stories and all those experiences, that research, into consideration. So one of the things that we believe that we are going to succeed in Pakistan, not only are we strategic in our planning, also the corporate social responsibility, a CSR. We are going to make sure that we don't just use the community for our economic prosperity, but rather we are going to give to the community. We are going to cooperate with the community. We are going to cooperate with the government in our business practices. We are going to cooperate with the local businesses in that community to see how we can thrive together as a people. And so we are also going to take into consideration scholarships that we are going to give to the locals of that community. So we prioritize social or corporate social responsibility in our business endeavor. Why? Because we know it is the way to go. To build a sustainable business, we have to take into consideration the environment. We know that there is actually a lot of agricultural products in Pakistan, which is going to help because we will have to partner with all these locals. So we will make sure that in order for us to thrive and be successful, we need to make sure that we take care of that country. We take care of the community where we operate. We make sure we give back. We make sure that we provide schools. We help the poor. We help the needy. So we are going to also take into consideration charity. We are going to take into consideration charity. So we are going to donate to local charities that have some causes that actually aligns with our mission. We are going to fund those charities. We will give to those charities. Through that way, we are going to be able to put our feet, or maybe actually lay a footprint, or actually lay a foundation that is going to actually lead to our success. So with that being said, friends, I know, you know, we all know that succeeding in a global environment is extremely tough. But why we are going to succeed is because we know that if you design a business with the goal of expanding internationally, you are in a better place of actually achieving extremely success. Because most of the countries we see out here, or most of the businesses that we see succeeding, actually had the plan to expand internationally.